though.
Yeah.
All right, so last week,
together.
Kyle Brandt from Good Morning Football,
Yeah.
who we are actively working on getting on the show, by the way. We like Kyle Brandt. Good guy. He released his AFC quarterback tiers.
Yeah, he did.
7 tiers, and I think overall he did a relatively good job. I think there's some we could argue with, good and bad, but he did his best, and although he's not perfect, I don't think there's too many major qualms. So we're going to go through these, see where Watson falls, and look at how we view Watson for the upcoming season as opposed to how a lot of the national media views Deshaun Watson for the upcoming season, and see if you think how Kyle Brandt from Good Morning Football ranked him fits in with where you would rank him on these tiers. So, Steve, we're going to run through. We have 7 tiers.
By the way, the worst ranking on this is definitely not Deshaun Watson.
It is not. It's someone in tier 6 with very long
Correct.
hair, who we'll talk about when we get
Blew
there.
my mind when I saw that.
I
one.
agree.
Yeah.
Tier 1, by the way, simply Patrick Mahomes.
There's no debate.
No debate.
He belongs on his own tier.
Tier 2, Steve, Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. Don't think there's a lot of debate as of right now with where Deshaun Watson stands on who else
Do
could
you
be
guys
in that
think
category.
anybody else belongs on tier 2 in the AFC with Burrow and Allen? Herbert?
No.
I don't know. They haven't done anything.
No.
Herbert hasn't won a playoff game. I think he's as talented as those guys, but I agree. You have to have at least one playoff win at this point.
Agreed.
So
All right.
I think this is right at this point.
Tier 3 is the aforementioned Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Aaron Rodgers. Any qualms? Or do you want to see tier 4 first and then see where you could maybe bump a guy up?
I think you can argue Rodgers is too high, given last year.
It's the only guy that I look at it and I kind of, it's a little bit of cringe. I'm like,
I'm kind of torn on Aaron Rodgers because before last year, and I know he's old, so it might just be he's done. But before last year, he had won 2 MVPs in a row.
Correct.
And last year he was bad. And
Yeah.
I wonder, is this the end?
Right.
Or is this? Remember Tom Brady's last year in New England? He looked like he was going down, and then his first 2 years in Tampa Bay he was great again.
Yeah.
Is this the same thing where the talent kind of went down in
It
Green
could have
Bay?
been where he was sour about the situation he was in.
Right.
Kind of rejuvenated with the new
Is
location.
that possible?
Yeah, it's possible, but I just think
Based on last year,
I think going to New York is going to be volatile for him.
if he gets off to a bad start,
He can't control the market like he could in Green Bay.
No.
And I think that, and there are guys who don't do well in New York, who don't handle
That's
just
correct.
the New York pressure that comes with playing there.
could you have a bigger difference in Green Bay media?
Green Bay.
And I know Milwaukee, but still.
Green Bay.
To New York.
To New
media.
York.
Especially the Jets, because the Giants, it's a little different because they've mostly been a successful franchise, whereas the Jets have been such a cluster, for so long.
We'll actually talk about that. It's kind of
Yeah.
like leading into a conversation like the Cleveland media or the Cleveland fan base. Like, people sometimes give the Cleveland media and they say, yo, Cleveland media is really, really negative. Why don't you guys just be positive?
I mean, that's
And then, when you go to other cities, like you look at New York or Boston or some of those, even Dallas, Philly, like,
much tougher on their team.
these dudes
Not
don't,
even close.
These dudes don't care nothing about none of that. They got, and they actually have papers still. Like they actually have columns where you get papers on the front step and they read them.
Yeah.
So
We will get to that, I promise.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. So let's go through the rest of the tiers real quick.
Okay, yeah. And
Just
then
so
we
everyone knows with the full context here. Tier 4 is Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson.
I kind of get why he puts them together because they were guys who had been really good, who both had really bad years last year. Now, Russell Wilson's a lot older than Watson. I think most of us would agree, or at least certainly hope, that Deshaun Watson is more likely to bounce back than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I don't think they belong to the same tier.
I
don't either, but I understand why he put them together.
I totally get why he did it.
Yeah.
I think Deshaun Watson is a lot better than Russell Wilson at this point, but it's Russell Wilson. So it looks like he's going to get that benefit of the doubt. That's why he threw him on that list.
I kind of would have had Herbert and Jackson at 3, and then Watson and Rodgers at 4
I agree.
together.
I would put Watson and Rodgers together, and
Yeah.
I'd put Russell below them.
Yep.
Right. I
don't
agree.
got to prove.
All right, we're going to run through the last
Yeah.
3.
Okay.
And then we will discuss the rest. Because tier 5 is simply Jimmy Garoppolo. I
Yeah.
have no idea what that
I don't-
tier
I
is,
don't know.
but it was Kyle Brandt's rankings. Tier 6, a couple guys. Trevor Lawrence, which both me and you alluded to. I don't know how he's in tier 6 with Tua, Mac Jones, and Kenny Pickett. And before we discuss tier 7 of the rookie quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson. You can take tag board full, Steve, for the full view of the 7 tiers of Kyle
Here's what I don't
quarterback
understand.
rankings.
Did he have a stroke before he put Trevor Lawrence on tier 6?
He got roasted on air by his co-host for that.
What did he say? What was his argument for that?
He said that he had to.
That he hasn't done it long enough?
It was not, like I said, we like Kyle.
Yeah.
I disagreed with his premise that he wasn't great for half the season. He still had to shake off the Urban Meyer rust. He played a little better later, but needed a miracle second half to beat the Chargers in the playoffs game after a horrendous
Well, he got
first
Okay,
half.
but he beat him.
So,
But he still beat him.
don't look at me. It's not my argument.
Yeah. No.
I saw Bull's face like he was ready to rip my head off.
I get it, but I hate that argument. Well, you needed, you came out to score 4 points in the first half, but you needed a 50-point eruption in the second half. That I got 54 points. What are you talking about? It don't matter when I got it.
Let me ask you this. If you were starting an NFL team right now, and obviously age is a factor, after Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and I'll say Herbert 4, I personally would take Trevor Lawrence over any other quarterback in the league. I'd take him ahead of Lamar. I'd take him ahead of Watson. I'd take him certainly ahead of Rodgers, who's old. Certainly the other guys on that tier. Mac Jones, Kenny
Jimmy
Pickett,
G?
Tua. What did you say?
Jimmy G?
Jimmy G?
Yeah, the Jimmy G at 5 by itself is weird.
How about you guys? You think I'm nuts? You agree? What do you say?
It's debatable.
I say Trevor Lawrence. If I'm starting a team if they took every player right now in the NFL and said you're all going back in the draft and we're starting from scratch. To me, the first 5 picks would be Mahomes 1, Allen, Burrow 2 and 3, Herbert 4, and then Trevor Lawrence would go 5. That's my thought. What say you guys? Forget contracts. But you obviously factor in age. But
I'd factor. Some people would take Lamar Jackson over Trevor Lawrence. I think some people would probably take.
I'm sure Cam in Canada would take Deshaun Watson over Trevor Lawrence.
Some people would take Deshaun Watson.
I still don't know who this guy is. You keep talking about him.
No.
Oh,
who are you taking? Lamar, Deshaun Watson, or Trevor Lawrence? You're starting a team. Forget the salary.
I hate these arguments.
Come on.
I don't know. I mean, Lawrence is in that debate. He's in that discussion for
Who you
for
taking,
which one.
G? No salaries.
For Trevor Lawrence.
Watson, Lawrence, or Jackson? Starting a franchise.
I guess I would take Lawrence over Watson. I think it's close. I think Deshaun can get back to what we saw.
I think those 3 guys would be the next group of 3.
Yeah.
For his tiers, Rodgers, I get it too. But Rodgers is old, so if you're starting a team. But.
I think they're very even. But, listen, I'll say this. I've seen more from Deshaun Watson than I've seen of Trevor Lawrence. So I'll take Deshaun Watson.
All right. Hey, listen, that's fine. I think, the point is Trevor Lawrence shouldn't be in tier 6. That's ridiculous.
Point being, he should not be below Jimmy Garoppolo.
For me, guys, I think Mahomes is tier 1. I think tier 2 is Burrow and Allen. I think tier 3, to me, right now, would be probably Herbert and Lamar. And because Lamar has done it more, and then tier 4, to me, would be Lawrence, Watson, and Rodgers, even though Watson's coming off a bad year. Same for Rodgers. And Lawrence, just because he hasn't done it long enough. And then everybody else who gives it
This is just AFC?
Just AFC, yeah.
Just AFC, yeah.
The AFC's got all the good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, the best quarterback in the NFC is Jalen Hurts. Who's the second best quarterback in the NFC? Dak?
Kirk Cousins.
Dak, Kirk Cousins?
Daniel Jones, if you're looking at money.
Oh, stop it.
Daniel Jones. Yeah, I wouldn't pick him up if I was playing flag football.
AFC, outside of Jalen Hurts, has got all the good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Actually, Daniel Jones is kind of fast. He might be good at flag football. Yeah.
He would be good at flag football.
He is a good athlete.
Yeah, he's a real good athlete.
So, Bo, I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
We all expect, and we've talked about it many times, Deshaun Watson to get back to Houston-level Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Based on projections of where we think he will be at the end of this season and the next few, he's certainly not tier 4. He's higher.
Yeah.
Do you think the media outside of Cleveland, and this is not the negative conversation we'll talk about with Juan Thornhill in a little bit, but the national media outside of Cleveland, isn't as confident that he can return to that form as we are within the city?
Oh, I think that's obvious. I mean, I think the majority of people outside of Cleveland think Deshaun Watson's never going to be great again.
I agree.
I think that there's a fear to root for him to be great again.
Right, that's part of it.
That's another thing,
Jason's
too.
100% right.
And I think that there's a punishment on all of these lists and everything.
100%.
And he's going to get docked regardless.
It's like they want him to be bad.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean, you don't want after everything that he's been through, you don't want to be the one to put him in tier 2 or tier 3. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yes.
So until he earns it himself, no one's going to just automatically.
Right. He does. At the moment, he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt because he hasn't.
Correct.
He didn't play 2 years ago, and he played poorly last year. So he doesn't deserve benefit of the doubt at the moment. And yes, there is a lot of national guys are like, well, I don't want to say Deshaun Watson's going to be good.
Right.
And I don't want him to be good. Some people don't want him to be good.
Correct. That's
so
fair.
they're going to say he's not going to be good. And that factors into these and ultimately these rankings and ratings are
doesn't matter.
It's just something to talk about.
So if you're you got to learn like this, man. If you're a national dude, right? So we local. You know what I'm saying? So locally, you know what I'm saying, you got a different bubble than you got with the national dudes. So the national dudes, think of it this way. You coming up with a list. Like, you just don't want no problems. You can go down your list and your tier list. You don't want to, they thinking like, why would I put Deshaun Watson on tier 2? So some idiot can get on my timeline and be like, you love guys that are, you always do pick the guys who are, have been, charged or allegedly sexual assaulted.
Right. They don't need the hassle.
So they don't want it.
In fairness, he doesn't belong on tier 2. Just like we said with Justin Herbert, he hasn't won anything.
But yeah, but here's some of them, they got him on tier 10. Like when you talk about, like they'll say Cleveland Browns offensive roster. I got the Browns 25th. You're like, the Browns offensive roster is not 25th.
Yeah. No.
Like, you just don't. You're not sold on Deshaun Watson.
Well, they were better than that last year.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, the Browns ended up middle of the road in offense last year with Jacoby Brissett playing 11 games and Deshaun Watson being terrible. And they were still middle of the road offensively. So they're obviously not a bad offense.
He's going to have to over-earn it. Like, he's going to have to. Like, and my thing is, even if he throws for 5,200 yards, and they're not going to make him the MVP. I've already said that.
No, he's not winning the MVP next year. It's like LeBron's first year in Miami. It doesn't matter what he does.
It don't matter what he does.
No, he has no chance of winning the MVP.
You know what? If he throws for 5,200 yards, do you give a crap whether he wins the MVP?
No, but I'm just saying.
I don't.
It doesn't matter what he's doing. He ain't winning the MVP.
We just let you know how it's going to pop off. Because here's the thing. A lot of fans are going to be like, why are we not getting the credit? And that's the thing that happens because.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's because Deshaun Watson, by de facto, like people want to admit it or not, he's the quarterback. The Browns are Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So when he doesn't get awards, they feel like you're shading us. You're not showing us love. It's the whole team you shading, and it's human nature, right? Like it's part of the thing, right? If he balls,
worry about that stuff too much.
I agree.
I mean, he was terrible last year. I just want to see him play well and put up big numbers. I don't care. Let's win. Let's play great. Who cares if he wins the MVP? If he plays well enough to be in that conversation, then the Browns are going to win a boatload of games, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And winning changes a lot of stuff. Yeah. I'm old enough to remember when LeBron was a villain for a couple years, wearing the black mask in Miami and trying to play the villain role. That looks like I can't even remember that. Like so.
Yeah, it's funny because in LA he didn't become a villain.
He didn't become a villain, but he was not embraced. He still isn't embraced out there.
No, but he's not
in LA.
Yeah.
But Jason, he's not. When he was in Miami, he was a villain across the country.
Yes.
In LA, he's not. You know better than me that he's not embraced there. But he's not like we don't. The national narrative is not he's a villain anymore.
LA fans are idiots. They give him the whole "you'll never be Kobe, you're not Kobe." It's like okay.
Well,
I think this postseason is starting to turn that. I think this postseason run is turning some.
If he wins a championship this year, I think he'll be looked at.
He'll be accepted, but he'll never be beloved in LA like he is
he's not,
here.
I mean, you can't. It's not a fair. Magic and Kobe played their whole careers there.
Right.
They're Lakers.
Right.
It's
he's a Laker at the end.
Right.
And he'll admit it. He got his documentary rolling. Like when it's all said and done, he'll realize. He'll say, out of all the places I've been, the energy is different in Cleveland.
But he's been in LA longer than he was here the second time. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Wait a second. This is
fifth year.
This is his 5th year there?
18, 19, 21, 22. Actually, 6th.
What?
No, fifth.
No, it's
He was only here 4.
He was only here 4. The second time
I know
around.
that, but I can't believe it.
Yeah,
it
he's
doesn't
been in
seem like
LA
it's been
longer
5
than he was
years,
in
but-
Cleveland the second time around.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, Mikey, hit us
We
with
all
some
lost
super chats.
years off our life
We
during
did.
COVID, and like
Yeah,
nothing.
you're
Time
right.
doesn't make sense anymore.
It
Yeah,
is.
you're
It's
right.
true.
We got 3 super chats
Yeah.
as we wait here for Cecil Shorts to join us. And whenever we read super chats, they're brought to us by our dear friends at PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. This first question applies to the conversation at hand, and it comes from Professor Chaos.
Oh.
Do you guys think Deshaun this year will be better than 2020 Baker Mayfield?
He better be.
Yeah.
2020 Baker Mayfield wasn't that good.
He was good, but he wasn't-
He wasn't special.
No.
It was a lot of Captain check down in that. Like,
G.
he's
Bush is
better.
talking about MVP conversation. Baker Mayfield wasn't any.
No.
Listen,
You would have been
Is
laughed
he a
at.
Pro Bowler?
The expectation is 4,800.
No.
4,800, 39 to 45 touchdowns, and under 10 picks. That's what it is.
What were Baker's numbers in 2020? Like,
Give me 1 second.
You know, they weren't crazy. I don't even think he threw for 4,000 yards.
No, it's like 3,500, I think.
He had some good games, obviously.
Yeah, especially down the stretch. He
Yeah.
played really well.
Took care of the ball.
He played what compared to what Browns quarterbacks have been. It was the best season we'd seen.
Yeah.
but it
It
wasn't
was a
a
pretty
great
good season. It's a pretty good season.
Go ahead. What's his numbers? Eddie?
63% completion percentage,
That's not good.
3,600 yards,
Oh,
That's
36,
okay.
26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean that's good. The touchdown interception is pretty good, but the
Yeah.
rest of those numbers are not very good.
I
Like that's not,
They're good, but they're not great.
that's good. That's solid quarterback.
Yeah,
solid
yeah.
quarterbacking, and he had big moments.
Yeah.
That touchdown against the Bengals in the back and forth game.
Yep.
Baker did a good job that year, no doubt about it. But our expectations for Deshaun Watson are way higher than that.
obviously.
If Deshaun Watson has those exact numbers, I'm concerned.
I'm going to be salty.
Yeah. The touchdown to interception, I could live with a few more touchdowns.
See-
if he's completing 63% of his passes and throwing for 3,600 yards,
But
that's not good.
There's a wide range here between everybody's getting fired and G's got him in the MVP race. there is a
Sure.
lot
Yeah,
of
it's a lot of
9 and 8.
If Watson-
that gets you 9 and 8, 10 and
if Watson
7.
put up the
Like,
Baker numbers, the Browns are contending for the playoffs, and nobody's getting fired.
That's what I'm saying.
But,
yeah.
and but that's the lowest end of what we could live with. I think.
Think about it. And there's one more game. Like, there's a whole other game. He did that in, 16 games, and we're going to say we're going to take that as 17? No. No,
I'm
we
just
can't do
saying, if he puts up numbers comparable to that, and they're in the playoff race as the 7th
it. Yeah, I
seed,
can't hate if they
Yeah,
in the
it's
playoffs.
not. We're not saying it's a disaster.
Yeah, well, I can't hate
but
if they're in the
ultimately, you
playoffs.
want better than that.
Sure.
Especially the completion percentage and the yardage.
Bull, how many seasons in Deshaun Watson's career has he thrown more than 26 touchdown passes?
More than 26?
Well, so Baker threw 26 in 2020. How
Yeah,
many has he
probably
thrown
only
more?
one, I think.
I'd say 2.
G? Jason?
2.
Maybe, I want to say
He only played 3 full seasons. I think.
two.
He threw 33 in 2020, and he threw 26 twice in 2019, 2018.
How many games did he play those years?
16, 15, and 16.
Okay.
So essentially full seasons.
What about the yards?
More yards. He threw for 4,100 yards in 2018, 3,850 in 2019, and then 4,800 in 2020.
Listen, stop playing with me.
And his completion percentage was at
Way
least
higher.
4.5% higher.
Hey, look.
That's a huge difference.
Hey, this is the clear example. If I started dating you, right, and you was working out in the past, but then you get with me and you just stop working out, I don't like that. Like, no. Like, if you can do that with Tom, what was Tom doing? Tom had you on a treadmill. You was a size 2 and 2 to 4. Tom had you working out over there. Now you get with G. Bush, and now it's like, oh, I could give you 3,500. No, so you want to be an 8 when you with G. Bush? No, I want what Tom had. That's why I poached you from Tom. That's why I was hating on Tom, and I got you, and now we're together, and I want the same size 2 as the
And remember, Deshaun Watson put up those numbers with no running back.
Zero.
They never had a good running back in those 3 years.
None.
They had a great receiver for 2 of those 3 years. They had Hopkins. The last year he had Brandon Cooks, I believe, who's really good.
Listen to Quincy Carter. They had grocery boy, bag boys he was throwing to. He had Target employees he was throwing to. His quarterback's coach.
Oh, yeah. And they had no offensive line. They didn't have a decent tight end. I mean, he's got way better. This is the best talent the Browns have had. This is the best talent Watson's had. All right, let's go. You got a couple more super chats?
Couple more. We have 2 from Gus Johnson. The first.
The announcer, Gus Johnson?
Maybe. Maybe. I cannot confirm nor deny, but the
I can't
first
get
says
behind Gus Johnson. He screams too much.
Whoever sent that last
me
super
behind
chat
the scenes?
is definitely Jay's burner account.
Say again? I didn't hear what you
Sorry.
said, Mike.
Whoever sent that last super chat, that's definitely Jay's burner account.
I would agree. I think Gus Johnson's right about that. That is
Gus
Jay.
also sent a super chat earlier in the show. Said it's time to fire Tito. The Guardians suck.
Oh, Jesus God.
Come
Evan.
on now.
And
Fire
then from
Tito.
Evan419, he just said, I'm rich. I'm not quite sure the context of that.
Okay,
Super
good for
chat,
you,
I'm
Evan.
rich.
Congratulations.
That's what's up.
Share the wealth, buddy.
I like
We
that.
can use some more money over
That's
here.
crazy.
By the way, the Guardians do suck right now. Mm-hmm. They suck. But Terry Francona has proven time and time again that he is an excellent manager, that his teams play better in the second half. Doesn't mean he's not without flaws. I question things he does.